If I were to go around asking people to define art, very few people would be able to sum it up in just a couple words or a couple sentences. And that's because art and the definition that it has today, it has such a broader definition than what it did before. That's because art can go back to, I believe, 70,000 BC. And the picture in the background is actually a cave carving or drawing from that time found by ancient history listings. And we view art today as a concrete thing. We'll look at it, or we'll look at a painting and say, oh, that's a piece of art. Or we'll look at a drawing or something that somebody created and say, oh, that's art. Art can't be interpreted any other way. But that's the exact opposite. Art and its definition is somebody expressing their idea or their creativity in any medium. It doesn't matter whether it's concrete or abstract. Now, art went through various changes throughout time since it started in 70,000 BC, and it's still a changing topic to this very day. In Japan, it started off with shoto, ukiyo-e, and manga. Now, shoto is a old form of calligraphy, and they were practicing this, I want to say, between the 14th and 19th century. And whenever this style or this form of art was being practiced, it was only practiced in temples, so there was really no outside influence. That's why it never branched off to be any sort of bigger topic than what it already was. Now, ukiyo-e is it's a art topic that was in the process of being branched out, because it goes from taking a small thing in the everyday life aspect and adding your own twist to it. The picture of the mountain was used, or the colors used in it were shown to not be typical colors. You wouldn't go to a mountain and be confused with it almost borderline being a volcano. And the utilization of certain colors and things like that are in various types of paintings that they made during this time era. And manga is more popular in today's culture because it's more like a comic book. There are people of various ages who read comic books now to this day, and it doesn't just stay in Japan. It branches off in places other than like China, Europe, all over the world. And in Italy, the Renaissance is where art really did take a change. The Renaissance was from the early 1300s to the late 1600s. And the Renaissance, the word means rebirth. And at the time, all of art was mostly based off of religion and divine things. Like if you would go back to Italy, you would see all these paintings of, say, Mary or Jesus or things like that. And that's all art was held to at the time. Art was based off of religion and things like that. But when the Renaissance was starting to progressively change people, the subject matter started changing. They started doing things more based off of the human emotion, or something as simple as colors or the feelings that you would feel in a certain moment. And with the Renaissance taking place and it getting a bigger and bigger influence in just Italy, well, that's the most popular place that it took place, the influence started spreading out further than just, let's say, Europe. It started getting to America. It started getting to far places that people wouldn't even think that art would be a topic of. That brings me to art today. So, honestly, I never viewed the bean in Chicago being a thing of art, because I thought it was just a bean. Like, that was just something I thought was weird. But art has branched off today and made it so that any way and any form you wanted to think of could be a creative movement. It doesn't matter whether it's just on pen or paper or pencil. Art can be branched out to music. It can be branched out to sports. It can be branched out to literature, speech. Anything can be art as long as a person puts passion and creativity behind it. And there are several cultures or several types of art that branch off, such as the art style on the right is pop art or graffiti. You would go in certain urban cities like, say, New York or Philadelphia, and you would also see like murals just almost on any street, just because the creativity strikes a person. And since we've changed the definition to this day, it's given people a way to express their feelings rather than just have a, I don't know, confined sort of approach to it.